Pugh. That'll do it! That will do it! Pugh for Bournemouth! The roof of the Gold Sands is raised! Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
Hello, Bournemouth fans. Hope you're doing well this Monday lunchtime. We wouldn't usually do a live, but we feel as though this news probably warrants it because it's been announced that AFC Bournemouth have agreed a short-term deal with former Arsenal and West Ham midfielder Jack Wilshere. Of course, we know that he's been training with the club and lots of fans have been clamouring for him to put pen to paper. It makes sense, doesn't it? Short-term deal, but it's been announced through Radio Solent's Chris Temple and a number of other journalists, including Mark McAdam and more, that the deal is done. And it should have been done so much so that he could be in contention for the Derby game tomorrow evening, which is live on Sky Sports at 6 p.m. Good signing, eh? What's your opinion? Let us know in the chat. With me to talk about it, we've got Tom Jordan. Tom, how are you?
Buzzing, mate. Yeah, nice to have some good news on a Monday morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Morgan Scott's here as well. Morgan, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Well, it is after that. And Ollie May's here as well. Ollie May, how are you? Thanks for joining us short notice.
Yeah, good, doing well, thanks.
So, Tom, saw the tweet from Chris Temple this morning. You must be buzzing.
Yeah, delighted, mate. I think it was one that we were all hopeful could happen. It seemed like it would suit all parties, didn't it? You know, he's not at a club. He's been training with us and obviously gets on with the group and Jason and stuff like that and knows what the fans think of him. So, yeah, good deal for all parties. And I think if you get a fit Jack Wilshere until the end of the season, that's going to be a hell of a signing for our promotion push. So, yeah, delighted. And I think it's the type of player that we probably need of late as well. Just that player that could provide a bit of magic now and again. So, yeah, delighted.
And Ollie, he was here in our 2016-2017 season, which was our best ever finish, finishing ninth in the Premier League. And whilst the stats, other teams might look at the stats and say, well, he didn't really score many. And, was he any good for you? You're just chucking money away. He was an integral cog to our form, especially towards the latter half of that season, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't always need stats, goals, assists, whatever it may be, to show that a player is making a huge impact in a team. We saw that when he joined us the first time, we were struggling a little bit. And he came in and we went on a little bit of a run. And I think this season, that's something we need. We need someone that can come into the middle and sort of give Lewis a little bit of freedom and be able to, make things happen, make things tick from going into the midfield to the attack and sort of just fill that gap that at the moment I think we're missing.
Yeah, and this could come at a good time, Morgan, especially we don't know what's going to happen with Jeff. Obviously, they're appealing the red card. Whether Jack will be thrown in straight away tomorrow or not, we're not too sure. But obviously, there's the whole incident at Sheffield Wednesday, whether he's going to get banned for that. So we do need extra bodies, don't we, Morgan?
Of course we do, and I think that's really interesting. The Championship, we still got 20 games or so to go, plus the FA Cup. If we go on the FA Cup run, which I don't mean to sound optimistic, but I reckon we'll beat Crawley, hopefully at least, and then probably get Chelsea in the fifth round and then go out. But whatever, that's normally what happens. But in terms of Jack Wilshere, I think it's going to bring that we need some more depth in our squad. Kirk's been calling out on free falls for months, and other fans, I'm sure, are going to be delighted to see him back in the AFC Bournemouth jersey. Lewis Cook and Jefferson Lerma, although they're very, very good in midfield, obviously you mentioned Lerma, and we don't know what's going to happen. That should be rescinded, but then we don't know what's going to happen on the other incident. But in terms of Lewis Cook, although he's very, very good, I think he can't carry on, 2 matches a week with the FA Cup as well. Maybe he will need to rotate it, and you just never know. The only other alternatives is Dan Gosling and Phil Billen, and you just don't know what they're turn up one week and then they won't turn up for about 6 months. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Jack Wilshere does to our squad, and hopefully, we'll push on and we'll get back to where we want to be. So yeah.
You know what? I would take Jack Grealish as well, to be fair. This is what Jason Tindall said to Chris Temple. He said, "We're delighted to get it agreed. There's no doubting Jack's quality." In his own words, he feels he's got unfinished business here. He was a huge part of our most successful time. But of course, Tom, Jack Wilshere comes with a reputation, a player that's always injured. And whilst us Bournemouth fans are buzzing it seems that the rest of the football community on Twitter are not laughing at us, but they are kind of expecting him to not feature much because of his injury-prone record. What do you say to them?
I say that when he was here before, he played a lot of football. It was only near the end that he picked up an injury. So the club as a whole obviously dealt with him well in that sense. And obviously Jason was part of that, and there's a lot of staff still there. So now to get the best out of him, which I think we did. And it's a no-brainer. We're not spending 20 million quid on him. We got a short-term deal. So if it's almost like a, if it doesn't work out, we haven't really lost. Do you know what I mean? He's there, he's training with us anyway. Let's see how much we can get him on the pitch. We're third in the league anyway. You know, it's just a little bit of an extra bonus to try and see us through. But we could have enough without Jack Wilshere. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a no-brainer for me. And I think he knows he's loved by this club and the supporters and things like that. And he'll give us all. But at the end of the day, we've got players like Stanislas, players like Danjuma, players like Brooks, Kelly. They've all got a few injury issues as well. And, you know, you just add him to the group, I think it's going to be massive. And if we can you could get 5 games out of Jack Wilshere, it's better than none, isn't it? So, yeah, let's keep positive because he played a lot of football when he was here before, and I felt we handled him really well. So, people say what they want. I think it's jealousy, really. I think anyone in this league would take Jack Wilshere on a short-term deal, that's for sure.
And speaking of Danjuma, as you can see there on the official website, it says that Danjuma is ready and they're waiting on the Lerma news with regards to the rescinded red card. You would think it would be. But bloody hell, a lot of us have been putting our chosen teams together, and that includes a midfield of Lewis Cook, Jefferson Lerma, Jack Wilshere, Danjuma, David Brooks, Dom Solanke. You're looking at it thinking, that could be tasty. But would it be too many changes too soon, Tom?
I don't know. I personally think that, well, I mean, we're not sure, but in terms of like tomorrow night, I think it might be a little bit too soon potentially for Jack and Arnie. They could be in the squad. But I think it's timed quite well in the sense that we've got a cup game on the weekend. Be the perfect game to say, I think we've done the same with Stacey when he was coming back. Perfect game to say, get an hour out of Danjuma, get an hour out of Wilshere. Let's see how they get on. Because, you want to get past Crawley, but obviously it's a little bit more of a free hit in terms of it's not a league game. So I personally think they will both feature against Crawley. Not so sure about tomorrow night, but could be in the squad if needed, like you say. And I think a key thing here is obviously not to spin anything on a negative. Is we're also linked with Hourahan today. I don't know how to pronounce it, the Villa midfielder, and it's just a little bit in the back of my head thinking, are we planning a little bit for this Jefferson Lerma bite gate? Do you know what I mean? Are we planning a little bit that we could lose Lerma for a long period of time? You know, a 10-gamer or something. They'll obviously know more than us. That's my only fear about it, is are we trying to cover ourselves in case that happens? But regardless, Arnie being back as well was going to feel a little bit like a new signing as well. So brilliant. So
I'd like to know what you think that Jack can offer us, Ollie. But before that, I also want you to answer this from someone in the comments who said, seriously, it's turning into an old boys club. Rather have Kilkenny getting regular playing time. Love Kilkenny, but you can't beat the experience of Jack Wilshere, a player that's been there and done it, can you?
You can't. We got to remember what Bournemouth is about here. You know, when we started with nothing. We started right at the bottom of League Two when it looked like we were sort of going out of the Football League, and then we built our way up. You can't play young players every single week. Just to remind people watching and whoever has written that comment, the goal that was scored to get us up to the Premier League originally, Mark Pugh, not a very young player. He'd been at Bournemouth a long time. Would we have scored that goal if we had maybe a younger player in the ranks at that point? I'm not too sure. But you got to look at what we've got. Yes, there are younger players coming through that I think might be quite promising, to say the least. Kilkenny's one of them. I think he's got a bright future. But I don't think we can just sort of disregard a player like Jack's quality. You know, we've been a little bit suspect this season to drawing games. I think one thing that we've noticed a lot is that we consistently sort of we think teams that are mid-table will be sort of easy wins or games that we should expect to win as such. And we've drawn just as many games as Stoke in 8th. So I think a player of Jack's quality, it's got to be a plus, surely.
Yeah, I do agree. So, I mean, what's he going to give us in that midfield? Who can we compare him to? Because I don't know. He just, there are so many moments with Jack that I'll always remember. And I think he hit the post for us, so he nearly got on the goal sheet. But I remember in that 4-3 against Liverpool, there was one of the goals where we counter-attacked, and he was an integral part of it. And there was a cracking goal at Swansea away where we won 3-0, and him and Junior Stanislas were doing step-overs, and they linked really nicely. And it was Wee Man who scored it, so let's not talk about that. But he's just a player that can offer us so many threats all over the pitch, isn't he, Ollie?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, he's got such quality, and you mentioned there with Junior as well. He's another player that knows Jack, has played with him. There are so many players that I think can link with a player like Jack Wilshere. He's not the kind of player that sort of you think, or can he play with each other? There was a huge debate with Heung-min Son and Harry Kane, obviously before they became absolutely unstoppable together. Of you can either have one or the other, you can't have both. But with Jack Wilshere, he's the kind of player you can sort of put into a midfield and he'll work. And that's what we need at AFC Bournemouth. We need an immediate sort of boost, I would say, because like I say, this season is a very tough season. We've got Swansea that are pushing up for the automatics, Norwich that seems to be running away with it, and we've got teams just below us now as well that seem to be sort of thinking that maybe if we slip up, they'll take advantage. So with someone like Jack, we need something instant. We need something that can fit the team. Obviously, like you say, he's played here before. He knows the club. You mentioned there, he say he's got unfinished business. He knows exactly what he can bring. AFC Bournemouth know exactly what he can bring, and that's why they've gone and made this deal happen.
And Morgan, this is a statement of intent from the owners, isn't it? I mean, at the start of the season, we weren't seeing much of a statement because we didn't get any new signings in, and we were very much left with, 3 or 4 players fewer than what we had originally, and we were all wondering what was going to happen. Jason managed to, take us through the sort of opening stages of the season without the new signings, and we did pretty well. Obviously, we've added Cameron Carter-Vickers and Roro, etc. But this is a statement of intent now, isn't it, for the second half of the season, Morgan?
Absolutely, and I think I've been very, very impressed with Carter Vickers. Look, very, very good in what we've seen of him so far. Okay, you could say that a little bit too soon to judge him, but he's fitted straight in, and I think he deserves a place in the starting back three. Roro, he had a shot last game where he could have scored if it wasn't a decent save by the keeper, and he's also scored as well, and he looks like he's going to change when he comes on. So. And also, Asmir Begovic, although he's not a new signing, he's been like a new signing for AFC Bournemouth and it's just made our squad so much better. And adding Jack Wilshere is just going to bring a bit more, and our squad now it was already very, very, very good, but now it's just that extra little bit, and hopefully it will just give us a bit more depth if we want to rotate anything. And if we do get any injuries along the way, which can happen in football with games coming thick and fast, it just gives us an alternative option.
So, Tom, we'll wrap up pretty soon because it's just a quick video. What formation would suit Jack Wilshere being in the side?
I think Jack Wilshere being in the side, personally, it would suit him being an advanced midfielder. So kind of whether he's saying that 10 or just in front of a 2 to give him a bit more of a licence. He could definitely play like in a 2 at this level. He done it a few times when he was in the Premier League. I remember a few games where it was him and Harry Arter as a 2. But if you want to get the best out of Jack Wilshere, I think it would probably be, for example, a Lewis Cook and a Lerma behind him and him giving a bit more of a licence. But I think what's going to be key is, I've mentioned it a few times, I think Brooksy struggled of late, and I think that's because a lot of opposition are knowing he's the main man. We spoke about the fact that maybe he's carried a bit of a burden, knowing that he's the man that's got to open things up for us, and opposition are targeting that. Now they've got someone else to worry about. And there's only so many players you can kind of man mark and focus on. So it's going to give us another player that can kind of open them doors for us. And I'm sure people like Dom Solanke are absolutely buzzing that we've got Jack here. And in terms of people saying about the signing and, whether it's a good one or not, sometimes if a player like Jack Wilshere becomes available, you just sign him. I remember when we got promoted, I remember Eddie saying that we were quite happy with Lee Camp in goal, if you remember. Lee Camp wasn't a bad goalkeeper. He was a very good goalkeeper in the Championship. But then Boric was suddenly available, and you just take him because he could add a bit more quality. And I think we're third in the league without Jack Wilshere. We've got a lot of quality, but if he's available, you bring him in. And I think that's what Jason's done. And like I say, it helps that he's already been around the group. And I think he just feels loved by the fans and the players and the staff and everything here. And that's what Jack needs. He needs, it didn't work for him in West Ham. And I think he needs to have that feel good feel about him, and I just hope he plays with a lot of freedom and just enjoy. If Jack Wilshere enjoyed his football, we'll see the best of him. So just excited to see him back on the pitch. Really am.
Hey, Morgan, you're about to say something.
I go back. I go back to Tom's original point. You know, even if we get 5 games out of him, that's still fantastic. You know, even if he chips in and puts a few man of the matches performance, a few assists, and maybe even a few 50-yard strikes or whatever. Maybe more 30 for my liking. But I think it would it's just another option, and it's what we need. Just to get back to the Premier League, and it's so important, you know, the Championship, especially if we keep doing so well in the FA Cup as well, an extra game per week. It's just a really, really good feeling that we sit here on a Monday for time and we're not just talking about who's leaving or whatever. We're actually talking about something positive. And he's been around the camp for so long now. It's just going to be amazing. And he knows everyone, and he's not starting again. It's just an excellent Monday.
Morgan, speak about Jack Simpson quickly. Tom, you saw a tweet or something to suggest he might actually be staying.
Yeah, it looks like there's something like, I can't remember the reporter, but yeah, it looks like he's potentially said that he's willing to stay. That's about all I've seen. I personally I believe he's out of contract at the end of the season, and I do see Jack Simpson knows that he would play more football at Cardiff than he would here. I wonder if maybe his agent is in his ear saying, look, you're out of contract at the end of the season. You'd probably get more wages better wages if you were to see it out and go for a free. If Cardiff were to spend money on him, I very much doubt Cardiff could afford to pay him whatever we are. And I wonder if that's maybe a stumbling block that's occurred. I'm not sure, because Simpson knows. I mean, even without Carter Vickers, he was down the pecking order. He had a run in the team because of Mepps' injury. Mepps is back. Carter Vickers has come in. He's down the pecking order, and Simpson's been here for a long time now. And he's always been a player that we've kind of not allowed to go out on loan because he's just an emergency option if we need him. So I wonder if it's agent at his ear kind of saying, you know, just see out the season because you're going to be out of contract and you'll probably get a better deal somewhere. Maybe. But, you know, I think people are almost looking a bit, I don't want to be too disappointed about the fact that we're not letting a player leave. I appreciate that. I think it was a good deal for us because I don't think he's one of our starters, and it could potentially allow us to use that to bring in Carter Vickers, who seems a high quality player. But if Simpson stays to the end of the season. He's there if we need him. Good for rotation, especially if we have a little bit of a mini cup run. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But it looks like it's just said that he's willing to stay, but there's not like said that talks have broken down or anything. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But whatever happens, if he goes, I wish him the best. If he stays, then he's an option, isn't he? Finally,
before we go, of course, that's a player that's coming in, and yeah, as you say, rumours with Hurahan as well, and Cameron Carter-Vickers. You know, hopefully we'll be getting him permanently. Are you worried about anyone going, Ollie? Which players do you think could be gone? I mean, will Josh King be gone, for instance? Because we just don't know.
One thing that I wasn't surprised by was to see David Brooks in the headlines again. I expected that. I didn't expect it to be Aston Villa who was looking at David Brooks, but I saw that they were interested. Of course, Jack Grealish at the moment is in the headlines, and maybe they're looking for somebody else to maybe fill a Jack Grealish kind of role if Jack was to leave Aston Villa. But I was expecting David Brooks to be in the headlines. Joshua King, of course, is an ongoing saga. We know that he wanted to leave AFC Bournemouth. There's no hiding that. Every Bournemouth fan, most football fans that know about the Josh King situation are fully aware that he didn't want to be playing as a number 27 in the Championship for AFC Bournemouth, but he is, and he's fighting for us, and I respect that a lot, and I think that's important. And there's no denying that he's a big talent that is going to be looked at around the world, and Premiership sides as well are going to be looking at him and saying, well, he's good enough at this level, let's bring him back up for us. You mentioned West Brom, I saw West Brom mentioned the other day in a tweet saying that Joshua King was reportedly interested in a move to the Baggies. So I see West Brom looking at King. I see Aston Villa looking at David Brooks, and those are the two players that I think are key into keeping us sort of in the running for automatic promotion this year. And hopefully, if we can keep hold of them, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, and that's the views of Ollie May. That's his new Twitch channel, Twitch TV /Ollie May YT. Make sure you go and follow him on that. Well, gents, I've got to say it's been a pleasure to have your opinions. Quick thoughts. We'll go around Derby County tomorrow. Do you want to do a brief sort of analysis, Tom, on what you're hoping to see and a bit of a prediction?
Well, I'm hoping to see a win, Sam, first and foremost. I think when you've had a bit of a bad week, I think it's one of them games where just win at all costs. I'll take a scrappy 1-0 right now. I'd love us to see a great performance, obviously. But yeah, it's just all about winning tomorrow night. And it'd be interesting to see what we do in terms of tweaks to formation, to personnel. We'll be interested one. It's a quick turnaround as well. Obviously, we're still not sure whether Jefferson Lamb will be available or not. I think we'll probably find out at some point today, won't we, in terms of just the red card he just got. I expect us to have too much for Derby. It'll be a difficult game. They've, announced Loanee. They're fighting for their lives down there. It's always going to be a horrible one. I'd like us to see us be a bit braver from the off. I see Derby sitting back and trying to make it difficult for us. And so let's get up the pitch. Let's not play around with it at the back. There's no point if they're not going to press us. They sit deep and try and just really make it a horrible game. Let's go and take it to them early, get an early goal and tell them, look, you've got to come out now, and then let's pick them off. So I'm confident. We've bounced back every time we've lost before. Yeah. So I'm still confident. I'm going to go for I'm going to 3-0, Jack Wilshere third.
Jack, yeah, you know what? And if we've had a bad weekend, we've definitely had a better Monday. And especially given the news that Chris Temple has literally just tweeted the fact that Jefferson Lerma's red card looks to have been rescinded, so he will be available tomorrow night. And Jack Wilshere was indeed registered before 12, so he can play tomorrow. So if you ever want some good news,
6-0.
6-0. Yeah, Morgan. Brief thoughts about what we need to do tomorrow and give us a prediction.
Well, firstly, that's just made the day even better because, Lerma's a massive part of our midfield and he brings that fight and aggression that I think that we need. How that red card was even given is still, but I don't even want to go there. But the fact that the EFL have come to the decision and rescinded it, fair play to them, because if we were sat here and they hadn't, we would be so angry. So fair play. But onto the Derby County, it's away, ain't it? At Pride Park. So Loanee he's gonna want Derby to play very, very well. Of course, new manager, very experienced as a former England striker. I'm gonna go for a 3-1. I reckon we'll start really well. I reckon we might get a bit shaky because that's how we are at the moment. And then I reckon we'll come out in the second half after a massive team talk by JT, and I reckon he might just I don't know, I reckon someone might come off the bench, maybe a Sam Savage tap in, or I don't know, a Row or something, just a little bit different than what we had in other games. So people might not agree with me, but that's what I think might happen tomorrow night, just because it's on away ground and we're not in the best of form, and none of us can deny that at the moment. So yeah.
Mate, we're so fickle. There's like 3-0s, there's 3-1s. Like Carl's going for a 4-0 after what we saw on the weekend. I'm going for a 2-0. I think we can grind out a win. I don't think it'll be as beautiful as we all want, given the players that we've got in contention. But yeah, I'm going for a 2-0 win. Ollie, thoughts about tomorrow?
Yeah, I would also say we should be winning this sort of game. I'd go for a 3-1. Again, I'm going to be with the majority of Bournemouth fans in saying that it's going to be, a pretty high scoring game for us, 2-3, 4-0, 5-0. Tom, it might not be 6-0. I hope it is. And I will come back to you if it is 6-0 and ask for the lottery tickets. Just to let you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we can have too much to outclass our Derby tomorrow. And it's one of them games that we've dropped a lot of points to bottom half clubs so far this season. We cannot let it happen again. Steve Cook was very active on social media and very he was letting every Bournemouth fan know what we needed to hear, that he's aware, the players are aware that they need to do more and not to panic, but they are aware of the situation. And these are the games now where promotion chasers can become sort of key promotion runners at the top of the table and sort of push the other sides away from them and really take charge. So 3-1. And I'm also going to have to say, maybe if he's involved, a little Jack Wilshere goal.
Love it. Ollie, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it, mate.
No problem. I appreciate it.
Cheers also to Morgan. Morgan, thanks for coming on.
Cheers. See you tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll do. And also Tom Jordan, thanks for coming on short notice.
Cheers, boss.
So there you go. Jack Wilshere has signed for AFC Bournemouth and is available for Derby County. Stay tuned to the channel later on today. There's an opposition previewing that game. And then, of course, our free-for-all at full time as well. See you then.